So, hello and welcome to today's Personio product update. I will quickly share my screen with you. Perfect. So hi, my name is Mark. I'm community manager here at Personio, and today your Personio expert presenting the new features that were released in February 2022. Next to me, I have some colleagues that support today's session. So I have another Mark also here in the chat. Mark is implementation manager and will support us in the chat or in the Q&A session. So during the whole webinar, you have the chance to ask your questions. If something is not clear on the new functionalities, just open the Q&A section of Zoom, ask a question, and Mark will try to answer your question. And we also have some live questions that will be answered. So Lena will take over this part and select some questions that you're asking, and we will answer them live. Lena is next to me, also community manager, and usually she is conducting this webinar, but today it's my chance. Important for you, if you ask a question, please always relate them to today's functionalities. Otherwise, we have always the chance to ask the community if you have any questions or on existing functionalities. We will record the session, so we will share the recording afterwards in the community and also via email. So if you have not the time to be here the whole time, you get access to the recording afterwards. So before we jump into today's agenda, I have the tip of the month for you. So now it's possible with the career page to enable filters there. So your applicants can now much more easier find the specific position they're interested in. So especially if you have like lots of open positions published on the Personio career page, you can now enable filters for employment type, department, subcompany, location, or category. Simply navigate to your recruiting settings, to the career page settings, and there you can enable or disable specific filters, and more information you can also find in the Help Center under the article Configure the Personio career page. But with this, we come to today's agenda. We have topics for each part. So for the HRM part, we have some updates on the performance cycles. We now have the peer reviews added here. We have for especially the German market, some new informations on the DATEV integration. And for custom reports, we have some new filter insert functionalities. We will take a look at that in a minute. And then secondly, we will take a look at some new integrations. And last but not least, we have a very new interesting functionality in the recruiting section of Personio. Now it's much more easier to send interview invites to your candidates. But let's jump into the first feature, add peer reviews to performance cycles. So you already know we have the chance to ask for a self-reflection with the performance and development section of Personio, but also for a supervisor feedback. And now we added peer feedback. So maybe some of you already do that at your company, and now you can also do this with Personio. For this, we will take a look in the Personio account. I navigate to performance and development, cycles, and create a new cycle. I simply name this one peer review. I will select a specific department. Let's select all customer service employees. And now you see we have added the review type peer interview. So let's select this. I select a newly created evaluation form here. So simply navigate to the performance settings. There you can create a fitting form, feedback form for the new peer review feedbacks. And let's just simply have a due date here. And we launch this review cycle. So I now click in here in this peer review. What you can see here are all employees that are in the specific group. And now you see we can request peer feedback. In this case, I'm in the admin view. Depending on the amount of employees we have in the review cycle, we have lots of employees here, and for sure it's not that easy for the admin to assign all peers here. So what you can do is to the supervisors have the chance to do so. So I will navigate to the profile of Eddie, which is the customer service team lead. We will have like a very similar view here, as we have only this low amount of people in this department, but let's log in as Eddie. And what you can see now is that we have also the performance and development tab here. And so the supervisor can now navigate to cycles, to the current cycle, and then you see we have only 3 employees here. So Eddie is only able to see the employees that are directly reporting to him. So that makes it much more easy. So let's assign a peer to Benedict Gonzalez. So I simply click here and request peer feedback. I will now search for a colleague of him, which name is James Green. And now I can request the feedback. The feedback is accessible like the other feedbacks you already know from the performance cycle. So the employee, in this case, James Green, will receive an email notification and also has the possibility to simply navigate to the performance and development tab and then fill out the form as you know it from the other functionalities with the performance cycles. So, but we have also another functionality. You already see it here in this view. We now are back in the admin view of the cycle we created right now. And we have the chance to add additional employees to this ongoing cycle. So simply click on the plus, select another employee that's not in the list. For example, this colleague here. And you see we have added this colleague to the list. And you have also the possibility to remove employees from the list here. Let's do this with Eddie. But what is very important about that, if you do so, Eddie will no longer have the possibility to take a look at this specific performance cycle, and all his created evaluations will be deleted. So in this case, maybe let's select another employee as he's the supervisor of so many here in the group. Let's do with Benedict Gonzalez. If remove him, he will no longer be able to take part in this cycle and does not have access to it anymore. And another thing we added in addition is that now there's the possibility to switch the supervisors during an ongoing performance review cycle. So what does that mean? If you have like a team and we have already started with a review cycle, like with a supervisor review cycle, and now we have a new supervisor in the team, then it's possible to do that in the employee profile. The former supervisor will then no longer have the access to this current ongoing review cycle, but the already filled out evaluations forms won't be deleted, but the newly assigned supervisor will then have the access to the cycle, can see the already filled out evaluation forms, and will be prompted to fill out all the missing evaluation forms. So that's it with this feature. Then let's take a look at some new DATEV updates. So for everyone, as already said, who has, for example, an office in Germany, may know about DATEV. This is like a payroll tool, and we have an integration with DATEV, and that the integration works properly. There are some limitations on specific attributes, like for first name, last name, and position, you see here in the screenshot, but also for other things like personal number, the IBAN, bank details, and so on, and that you won't have any issues with exporting this data to DATEV. We now validate these attributes, as you see here that, for example, you don't enter more than 30 characters for the first name. And then everything works properly. If you want to use this, please navigate to your payroll settings, to the DATEV integration, and activate this feature. And please consider that you have different limitations here, depending if you're using DATEV Lodas or DATEV Lohn und Gehalt as it is called. And then you will have no more issues with the integration. Perfect. And then let's take a look at the custom reports. I will quickly go back to the Personio account and click on reports, custom reports. You may already, you have already created maybe a lots of reports here, and then it's not that easy to find the report you need. That's now much more easier. So you have the chance to switch between a grid and list view. And now you can also filter by the report type, the created by, the employee who created the specific report. And you can also search for a specific report name. So let's filter for a time frame report. And you see, we only see the custom reports with the type time frame. And we also have the chance to sort the specific headers here, like the created or updated at date and time, depending on what you're currently looking for. So that's it for the HRM part of Personio. Lena, are there any questions in the chat, in the Q&A we can answer live?
Hi, Mark. Yes, one question came up from Ruth. She was asking if it is or will be possible to set up a true cycle in the performance area, so that she means that for a monthly or a quarterly cycle for meetings or like these feedback reviews that we can set up, and if it's like a real cycle that automatically is triggered in a on a monthly or a quarterly basis.
So that's not the case. So you currently create like the cycle for specific months and you have it ongoing and can close it. So currently it's not possible to enable like a recurring cycle at the moment.
But at least they can edit it also and use the same questions and edit it for the next time.
For sure. You can duplicate it and the current cycle, that's still possible. You're right, Lena.
Very nice. Thank you, Mark. And then the other question that just came in was answered by Mark in the chat. That's it for the live questions so far. Then you can continue. Thank you.
Perfect. So then let's take a look at the integrations that we have released last month. The first one is Landing.Jobs. That's a candidate sourcing integration, basically a candidate sourcing tool for tech professionals. So it's like a community with tech professionals with over 160,000 of tech professionals. And Landing.Jobs gives you the possibility to easily find the perfect fit here. And beside this, it's not always that easy to find the perfect fit in terms of the international issues. So we have a very international field here with tech professionals, and you get lots of support in regards to employee branding, workforce payment solutions, visa, relocation services. And the integration specifically with Personio looks like that you will have the contact information, resume, and so push to Personio and can then create the employee profiles after you accept it and candidate here. Then let's take a look at the merge integration. That's also very interesting for everyone that wants to connect lots of services to Personio. So merge is an integration platform that integrates with Personio, but then you have the very easy possibility to also integrate over 40 plus other HR information systems, applicant tracking systems, and accounting integrations. Personio will push information like employee data, employment data, location, team, time of data to merge. And with merge, if you have connected other integrations, merge will push that information depending on the solution to the other solutions. If you want to have in general some more information on our integrations, it's always worth a look at the marketplace in Personio. So you can simply navigate to the marketplace via your Personio account or via our website, marketplace.personio.de. That's important right now. And you will also have all the links to the service contact and to the websites of our integration partners. And then last but not least, we have the TalentBait integration. It's also a candidate sourcing tool, but more for the social media channels. So you have the chance to connect, to post your open positions to more than 12 social media channels only by using TalentBait. And it's really made for media. So if you want to publish your new positions with image, video, and audio, and so on, you can publish this with TalentBait easily and create journeys like through WhatsApp. So very interesting. And we have a very great integration here. Open positions will be pushed via the XML feed to TalentBait. So no need to fill in the information manually there. And if you check applicants in TalentBait, we'll also have the chance to easily transfer them to the Personio recruiting. Perfect. And again, some questions on that part here, Lina.
No to the integrations, no questions came in.
Perfect, thank you. Then, last but not least, we have the third part, the recruiting area with the new functionality, send interview invites to candidates. And I think lots of you will like this feature. Let's take a look at the Personio account. I will navigate to an application. Didn't say daily, I already created an interview here. So before, when you created an interview in the Personio recruiting, you always had to manually send a message to the applicant with all the details on the meeting. Now it's much easier. You can easily click on select calendar invite to candidate, and you will get this overview. Then you can also select a specific template you've created before, like what do I have here? The personal interview, for example. And what you see right now is there's some information on the meeting filled in. So no copy paste anymore. We have now 3 new placeholders, one for the date, as you see here, one for the time. And if you have an integration with a video conferencing tool like Microsoft Teams, Zoom, Google Meet, we will also provide a placeholder for the link to the specific meeting that will then also be in this email. Next to the placeholders with this email, a calendar invite file will also be sent out to your applicants so they can easily add this meeting to their calendar. Also important for you to know is if you cancel this interview, everyone who is participating in this interview, so your employees, your colleagues, but also the applicant will receive a notification that this interview is canceled, but with no additional text. So if you will send out like a personal information, please still use the messages tab to write an email to your applicant. Perfect. And then again, any questions on that part?
There was just a question coming in. I'm just quickly checking it. If it's a suitable live question. Yeah, it's a question about the time zone. I'm not sure, Mark, if you can answer that. Martina is asking, we had trouble with sending interview invites from a different time zone. The scheduled time ended up being wrong. Has this bug been fixed? I'm not sure if you have an update on that.
I'm not aware of any bug here. So what I can say is that when you create an interview with a specific time, always the time zone of your computer, or specifically of your browser, will be considered for the time zone in Personio. So it's not depending on the location you have selected in Personio. So that's something maybe you can check if the time zone on your computer or your Chrome browser is set up correctly. But if there's currently a bug, then I don't know about it.
Okay, thank you. We can also follow up on that, Martina, in our post in the Personio community, where we also post the video afterwards. Then we place that in as an open question and find out the answer for that in the meantime. Thank you, though, for asking.
Perfect. Are there any other questions?
Then that's it. There was no other question coming in. Thank you, Mark.
Okay. Whoops. So then what happens next, just to give you an overview, would be very kind of you if you take 2 minutes of your time after this webinar to fill out our survey that will pop up when you close Zoom. We want to get your feedback just to make this format much better, as it's important that it fits perfectly for you. And then if you're interested in the next Personio update that already takes place on April 7th, so just register via the website personio.com, but you will also find our events in the Personio community. And in general, if you have any questions, also if there are some questions coming up after this webinar, take a look at the Personio community. Simply type in community.personio.com. You can ask your questions there and search for already created questions and answers. And yeah, you can create and get in contact with other HR professionals that are also using Personio. With this, we already come to an end. And as already said, you will all receive the recording afterwards via email, but also in the Personio community post, where, as Lena already said, we will answer the open questions. So have a great day and bye.